Welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Vamos Dissect. We are finally down to the semi-finals. Apologies on the last video that we made, it glitched a bit and we couldn't really get the coverage that we wanted, but well, we go again. This video is going to be an exclusive on the Euro 2024 semi-finals. We were left with Netherlands, we are left with France, we are left with England, and finally we are left with Spain. Well, the main matchup of the semi-finals will be Spain taking on France. Well, these are two sides that have met each other on a number of occasions. I think they have 3 wins apiece and a draw inside there. This most definitely means that these are two teams that are evenly matched, right? When you come into the tournament, of course, Spain has been playing beautiful football. Yeah. The last time Spain played against Germany, we all saw what happened. Of course, Mikel Merino coming off the bench to score the winner in the extra time, something that dates back from like 33 years ago when his father scored in the preliminaries or maybe the knockouts, and I think they did that iconic celebration that he did. Shout outs to him. Of course, Pedri got injured, and then Daniel Olmo stepped up. I think Daniel Olmo is one of those brilliant Spanish players that don't really find themselves in favor in maybe tournaments and all, but he really has a lot of things to say when he gets to touch a football. Of course, scoring the first goal that they scored, and then doing the match winning assist was a good thing to see. When you play against France, France has still failed to score goals. Yeah, I don't. This France team, I saw Neil Mope talking about France the other day, and he was not really writing them on because, of course, this has been a team that has been relying on very many own goals and all that. Oh, France, 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 France. France went on to win in a penalty shootout the last time out. Well, somewhat I didn't see France taking it for me because I think Portugal actually bossed them in that game inside there. Just of course, when it came to the penalties, nerves of steel is something that's very key inside there. I don't think Mike Maignan is a decent penalty shot stopper. I don't really think so. But he is actually a brilliant goalkeeper. And now, of course, we're talking about the midfield of N'Golo Kante, Chouameni, and Kamavinga. I think this is a midfield that has like experience, and then people that are trying to like get experience. Of course, these are 2 Champions League winners. Take nothing away from them in Kamavinga and Chouameni. And then when you play with an N'Golo Kante, I think that's a very complete midfield, because if N'Golo Kante can do what Chouameni and Kamavinga are doing now, and yet N'Golo Kante is someone from back in the day, then it's really crazy. I think Mbappe hasn't woken up in the tournament yet. Ousmane Dembele, man of the match, the last time out against Portugal. I also don't think he has really ticked inside there for me. I don't really think he's a threat. Antoine Griezmann, who is supposed to be maybe their focal point, has not really stuck in the whole tournament. And just like I said, these 2 sides have met each other and they have drawn. They've drawn only once. Each of the sides taking 3 wins. I'd fancy the Spain side because I think this Spain side has, I think, very, very beautiful talent on either side of the wing. That's Yamal on the right side and then Nico Williams on the left side. Of course, I've seen they've been trying to bait the transfer for Nico Williams to Barcelona, and of course, Laporta is saying that Barcelona has the money to dive into a transfer like that at this time. But I think when Nico Williams maybe lands onto a Jules Koundé, it's going to be bad news. Koundé is actually a nice footballer, but I don't trust his defensive work. Yeah. The only problem that Spain might have is, of course, Alvaro Morata is suspended. I wonder who they're going to actually play in the number 9 position, because they don't really have. Spain is not those teams that usually have strikers. You have an Oyarzabal, who is somewhat pretending to be a striker, but he's not. And then, of course, they have a Joselu. I don't know. Coaches don't like to play Joselu as a focal point. Normally want to bring him on as a substitute. But then, of course, the defense of France is a very rock-solid defense. You have a William Saliba, an Upamecano. There's a Konate on bench that is waiting to get minutes, who is also another solid one. I don't know how Spain penetrates this defense, right? Because I think Saliba, for me, when they're making the team of the tournament, you'll have to put him there for me. Of course, also another person in the team of the tournament will be Makukurela. He's been very solid in that number 3 position. He's been playing. I don't know. He's been immense this whole tournament. Of course, there was a penalty shout out in the game against Germany. Of course, we're not going to talk about refereeing decisions because I think the dynamics of football recently have changed and it's not exactly how we want to see it. But now, if I was to give you guys a score for this game, I still think I somewhat became a Spanish person, a Spanish summon. I'm not using this as a bias or something, but I think Spain takes this game away from me because I don't see France does not have a sting about them unless they're somehow going to keep the tie at bay and maybe go into the penalty shootouts and then we'll see how they take on that side. But remember, Unai Simon is one of those guys that know how to actually grab penalties. Like I said, I don't trust Mike Manuel. And then if Mbappe can actually wake up, maybe, then they'll probably see how to disturb that Spanish side. Spain before in the round of before they got into the preliminaries and all that, they were rock solid at the back as well. They were not conceding. Of course, Emerick Laporte being the man for in central defense. Of course, his defensive partner Norman. I saw he's been suspended again. Carvajal has been suspended. Pedri is out. So it's gonna be tricky how Spain lines up. But if it were up to me, Spain qualifying into the final. Either way, it has to be maybe through normal time or extra time, but Spain goes through for me. And then the second tie will be Netherlands and England. This is a pretty interesting tie as well to keep your eyes locked up on because I think England has flattered to deceive the whole tournament, but somehow they are here. Take nothing away from them. Oh well, the game that the time they played, very very beautiful penalties that they took the last time out. But I think all their guys scored on each of their penalties. And then hard luck to Switzerland. I was really rooting for Switzerland on this one. But, well, somewhat England has a way that they come through, more so on the penalty shootout. Pickford and his bottle always have somebody that they're going to grab inside there. Well, shout outs to of course, England for coming through with that. And then, of course, England has been a lot of like headache inside there about who is the coach supposed to be playing and all that. Important to note that Gareth Southgate actually got a 2-year contract extension, which for me it's not something that made me happy because, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's because he has a lot of manpower that is giving him headache, or if it's just I don't know. I don't want to call it rigidity. Yeah, well, of course, over the past few games, you've seen how Kobe Mino has finally been able to enter into the team and start to play into his favorite position in the midfield in front of Declan Rice. In this tournament, Declan Rice playing as a CDM has not really been. You don't really get to see the Declan Rice that can save the Titanic when he's playing for Arsenal. And then there's been a lot of talk about Bukayo Saka playing as a number 3, number 2, number 7, number 11. Take nothing away from him. A nice called penalty on the night. Beautiful equalizer. Well, I don't know if these guys watch the Premier League. I don't know if they don't know that Bukayo Saka on the wing, or if he finds you sleeping or napping, he's probably going to curl that ball inside the corner. But take nothing away from him and him trying to get confidence in the tournament. But I don't know. If you were up to me, of course, I'm not the English coach, but I think England needs to run some changes inside there. They need to get people that are direct, people that are, for example, if we go down to the left hand side of the wing, I think Anthony Gordon is a very direct player. Of course, there's been a lot of noise about Phil Foden playing as a number 10. Maybe just so they can unlock him a bit, but where does that leave Jude Bellingham, right? Well, I think the tactics of the coach somehow have the thing of some of these players have to get a nod ahead of other people. But I think the major boost that he'll get is Luke Shaw actually got some minutes inside there. I think he got a run of about 20 minutes against Switzerland. So I think left he's the only left defender that they have. And they'll be actually looking for a left defender on that one because Trippier has been being moved out and then Saka going on back to the left. So we'll wait to see how that goes. And then for Netherlands actually has the top scorer of the tournament in Cody Gakpo. And then when you get Netherlands also actually has one of the boys that Manu wants to send, that's Zerki, but he hasn't really gotten a chance to show what he can do. And then in terms of tactics, the coach has been trying to play a Steven Bergwijn on the right. Yeah, and then he unlocks a Daniel Malin maybe when guys are tired and running out of legs and everything. Because Daniel Malin is actually one of those guys that are really fast paced. He actually knows how to contribute. I think the last time, I think in the round of the last 16, he actually scored two beautiful goals off the counter. Of course, a lot of nice work being done by Cody Gakpo inside that one. And then Netherlands against Turkey, they really started slowly. Turkey went on to score them. And I think that game came down to who wanted it more, because before we knew it, the game had turned on its head. And Turkey wasn't leading no more. Of course, a veteran defender in Diverge. Of course, the last time I saw this man playing, I think was in the World Cup. He usually has a header in him. The Inter Milan centre back scoring a goal inside there, and then there was an own goal inside there. These guys were actually caught napping because, for example, for the goal that was scored by the stalwart defender, it was just a very simple cross from Memphis Depay that these guys couldn't keep. But then, if you're looking into this Netherlands game and England, it's going to come down to how do that Netherlands guy cope. The Netherlands guys cope up with the pace of the England people. Well, I was looking into, of course, there's a lot of media has a lot of things to do on these clashes when they're about to be played. And then Van der Ven, the defender of Tottenham Hotspur, who is also a Dutch, was talking about, I think there was a question about will Van Dijk and Ake be able to contain the pace of Bukayo Saka and co. But I'm actually backing Mickey Van der Ven. Mickey Van der Ven was actually among the fastest players in the Premier League last season. Yeah, if you very well remember Arsenal versus Spurs, he was able to track down Bukayo Saka, Martinelli in a blink. Yeah, he's actually still young. He's a very highly rated defender. So I'm thinking if the coach wants to do a tactical swap to come and match up the pace of those kids, that might be the guy that you bring inside there. And now for this Netherlands squad, I think there's a lot of chemistry inside there. When you check into their midfield, of course they have a Reinders who is playing his straight for AC Milan, and then they have a boy from, I think, PSV Eindhoven, who is also playing in the middle with Reinders, and then a Javi Simons in front there. Yeah, then of course Memphis Depay playing as the number 9, then you can probably bring on a Wout Weghorst. But the business is actually from the left side. That's Cody Gakpo. He's been very electric, a lot of trickery and everything. And England was still. I personally still think Ivan Toney still has a lot to say. Of course, after his high school penalty where he doesn't actually look onto the ball to take a penalty. That is not something that you see on every day. But well, I was looking recently and they're saying that by the time someone does something like that, the goalkeeper is left flat-footed because he's going to make a commit. He's going to commit, and then the striker will most definitely put a goal inside there. But I think Hurricane has flattered to deceive the whole tournament. And well, just because it's England and Hurricane is the captain, I do not think Ivan Toney gets a nod ahead of Hurricane. Yeah, but I think I'm, of course, in like the 60th, 70th minute there, I think Ivan Toney is very key because he's a bully and he's big and he's going to probably bully Van Dijk and co. But just so not to get carried away by all this, Netherlands in the last outings against England has beaten England most times. I think it has beaten England 3 times out of the last 6, with England beating them once inside there. Of course, most of those games having very many goals in the dying embers of the game, because these are two sides that like to switch off and then switch on again and all that. But this prediction is going to be very tricky for me because, well, I don't think luck is going to keep pushing you all the time. And now, me, I'm thinking Cody Gakpo has a lot to say in this fixture. Very big player for them in this tournament. 3 goals, I think, scores against England. He becomes 4th top scorer of the tournament without a doubt. Yeah. So my prediction for this game for you would be Netherlands beating England. So that's a Netherlands versus Spain final for you. Just in case you think there's something better than that, of course you can shout out. Tell us what's up. But the only thing I need to tell you guys is I think by the time you can do everything that you're doing during the day, but just make sure to watch these games on whichever platform that you're using to watch this platform. Aside from that, those are some of the insights that I would give you about the semi-finals that we're going to have. I'd like to thank you guys for staying rooted onto the channel, for liking, for subscribing. And then those of you that have not yet hit the subscribe button, please just hit the subscribe and let's journey together. Vamos, we go again.